In open class, Bill Gifford in the Sunoco race machine is pushing hard for the overall points lead. But a new boat out of Texas, sponsored by Carlos and Charlie, looks to give them all the competition they can handle.
I think today the main thing is that we finish a race. We're in the hunt for the points. And we've got an 8-race series here, you know, and the key is to finish.
So the boat's running good. Art and I are used to the boat. It's running real strong. It's running fast. I think this is our race.
In Pro Stock, the Harmsco Hurricane wants to lead the competition in its wake, but Patriot and Jaws may have other ideas. In C Class, points leader Charlie Schaefer in Sierra hopes to keep his winning ways alive, but Robert Loeffler in Mobile One plans to show the class who's boss on the water. From Chicago's famous Navy Pier, it's the U.S. Offshore Chicago Offshore Challenge. All the action is coming up next, so stay tuned. The United States Offshore Racing Association presents professional offshore powerboat racing. The best offshore racers in the world are here to take each other on in a winner-take-all duel in the sun. Drivers and crews are ready. Unbridled horsepower is ready to be unleashed. Catch all the action from start to finish as these high-tech racing machines run for the checkered flag. In a race where the difference between winning and losing is a matter of seconds, it's time to go racing.
Prime Network's presentation of the 1996 U.S. Offshore National Championship Pro Tour. Today, it's the Chicago Offshore Challenge, brought to you by Navistar, a world leader in diesel power, and by Sunoco and Sunoco Race Fuels, and by Bulova, excellence in precision since 1875, and by Motorola, your authorized two-way radio dealer. And now, for more on today's race, let's go down to Joe Gates and Jim Elliott.
Thank you, Steve. We're down here on the world-famous Navy Pier in downtown Chicago for the second stop on the Pro Tour of the United States Offshore Racing Association for 1996. And Jim Elliott, it's a beautiful day. The weather has given us a break. It's cleared. The skyline of Chicago in the background tells it all. Should be a great race on Lake Michigan today.
Oh, absolutely. The weather's not been cooperating, Joe, lately. The weather on Navy Pier today is perfect, and the racers should have a great time. Should be able to make hay out here.
I think you're right. And talking about making that hay, let's talk about one of the important classes, the open class. Should be thrilling out there today. You've got boats like Carlton Myers and how sweet it is. You've got Bill Gifford's Sunoco machine, challenged hard by a new boat on the Pro Tour, and that boat is Carlos and Charlie's.
Right. Carlos and Charlie's throttle man, Art Lilly, should really have fun today because the winds and the calm water, he really should be able to put the pedal to the metal.
I think you're right. Talking more about pedal to the metal, those Pro Stock boats will have a lot of fun out there if they can run on top today. You've got boats like Jaws and Euromarine challenged hard by boats like Harmsco, Hurricane, and Patriot. We'll have to wait and see what happens there.
Oh, right. Those catamarans get up inside the breaker, and they're really going to be able to take off. They'll have a lot of fun.
And we'll have a lot of fun also watching the C class. Now, that class in Lake Winnipesaukee, as you well know, 4 boats bow to bow all the way. It was Danka Sharp, it was Bodyguard, it was Mobile One, and at the end, it was Sierra. They took the checkered flag.
Oh, yeah. Competition's the name of the game, and today with those new entries, it really should be interesting to see who comes in first.
I think you're right. And talking about coming in first, let's go now to another member of our broadcast team out on the water. He's going to give us a report. Let's go to Jim Winter.
Thanks, Joe. We're here on the start-finish boat, and have we got great conditions today. Well, just take a look at this skyline, if you will. Perhaps the most beautiful skyline in the country from the most beautiful angle here in the city. Now, the weather is really cooperating today. It's been a tough spring here in Chicago, but today we've got sunshine, a few clouds to help us out, and the Windy City seems to be living up to its name. We've got maybe 1 foot of chop going right now. Hard to tell who the conditions will favor today, but we are looking forward to a great race. Over to you, Steve.
Thank you, Jim Winter. We're getting set for the start of the race today. The boats are being primed. They'll be heading out to the race course in just a few moments. We'll come back to start things off here from Chicago right after this timeout.
Powerboat we make. Powerboats. Outer Limits designer Michael Fiore has created an innovative powerboat product that has literally run away from the competition. Outer Limits offshore powerboats. They're sleek, they're strong, they're superior. Outer Limits, they're the next generation in offshore powerboats, and the next generation has come of age.
As the best truck and engine company in North America, Navistar makes trucks that move products across the continent. We're also the company that builds trucks that you see every day in your community. And we're the company that builds the school buses to safely bring your children to and from school every day. We're also a leader in diesel engines for trucks, buses, and industrial equipment worldwide. Navistar's engines work hard. Now they play hard, too. Navistar's proven diesel engine technology is available worldwide through the Marine Corporation of America. That's Navistar, taking the world where it wants to go. Offshore powerboat racing is known as the ultimate challenge of man and machine. And this year you can see the nation's best boats battle bow to bow as the U.S. Offshore Racing Pro Tour roars across North America. The speed and excitement will highlight the action as these professional drivers and crews take each other on in a headlong battle for supremacy on the water. Don't miss a minute of great U.S. Offshore Pro Tour racing action. And for information about joining the United States Offshore Racing Association, call 609-383-9500 and become a member of the U.S. Offshore Pro Tour team.
Welcome back to America's second largest city, the Windy City here in Chicago for round number 2 of the U.S. Offshore National Championship Pro Tour for 1996. Well, speaking of 96, let's take a look at the standings in all the classes after the first race. Beginning in the open class, Ohio Steel is in first and second is Heavy Metal. And in the modified class, the Moo Machine leads the way with Rolling Thunder in second spot. And in the Pro Stock class, Styling heads Pennzoil. And in the Super Stock class, Sierra is ahead of Dankus Sharp. And in the Sport class, Obsession leads Great Lakes Caster. And finally, in the Production class, Team Progression leads Media Master. Those are the standings so far in 96. And as the boats head out to the water, let's go back to the Navy Pier where my partner Joe Gates is with Bill Gifford and Sunoco Racing as they're just moments away from the start of this event.
Thank you, Steve. With Bill Gifford, the Sunoco race machine. Bill, a great day in Chicago. Going to be flat water out there, a fast race, and you've got a lot of competition. A new boat for you, Carlos and Charlie's. He wants you and wants you bad.
I believe that. I took a look at that machine. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous boat, Joe.
And I tell you what, talking about gorgeous, of course, the weather is great, but what effect is the flat water going to have? These cats are going to get up on top and really scream.
Well, they're going to go good. Of course, the skaters are packing more air than my boat, so, you know, we would really prefer a little bit of a bump, a little choppier water to get this thing unglued. I think today the main thing is that we finish a race, we're in the hunt for the points, and we've got an 8-race series here, you know, and the key is the finish.
And that will be the key today here. But, Joe, as we look out at the conditions, just as we get wound up for the first start of the afternoon, not too bad here in Lake Michigan this afternoon.
As you know, Steve, this lake can get mean, but from the report we had on the course from Jim Winter, he said water looks very good. The cats should like it. A slight chop. They should really take some air and get some great speeds out there.
This course today, just under 11 miles, 6 turns. There are 4 left-handers, 2 right-handers, and a kink thrown in just to make it a lot of fun. And I'll tell you something, Joe, this will be a challenging course for these drivers and the crews this afternoon here on Lake Michigan.
Should be a lot of excitement for all the thousands of fans who joined us here on Lake Michigan today. As we take a look down from one of our helicopter positions, there is the orange smoke. Steve, the race is only a matter of moments away.
The Opens, the Modifieds, and the Pro Stock crews are out here ready to do battle. The first of 2 starts this afternoon on this first 2-mile straightaway. Then they will go into a left-hander. This course, as we mentioned, just under 11 miles, and we'll keep an eye on this boat. Jack Carmody and Art Lilly at the controls. Carlos and Charlie's a 40-foot skater, one of the fastest boats out on this race course. They should show us some speed early, Joe.
Carlos and Charlie's a new boat to the U.S. Offshore Pro Tour for 1996. We jump on board. That's Jack Carmody and Art Lilly. You notice they're looking out on a very pretty horizon. Chicago in the background. A lot of boats around them. We see them starting to rev up. This should be an exciting race.
Joe, you can hear the chatter that's going on inside. It's great communication between the driver and throttleman. It's very important that they line up and get a clean hole shot on the initial start of the race, that they can find clear water. They don't want to get caught behind anybody's wake. They want a clean shot at the start because then they can grab the lead. So let's see how they spread out here as we wind up for the first start of the afternoon here in Lake Michigan in front of a huge crowd here in Chicago.
And as thousands line Lakeshore Drive on Lake Michigan, Chicago in the background, they're going to get a real eyeful out here, a great start. And right now we have the start in open, modified, and pro stock. It is official.
Side by side, the battle for the lead as we open up this race. And look at Harpsco Hurricane, the boat out of Florida. Steve Page, the driver. Steve Skorupski, the throttleman, and they are out in front.
They jumped out to an early lead, Steve, ahead of a lot of faster boats. As you pointed out at the top of the show, they got that whole shot, found clear water. I doubt they'll maintain this lead, but right now, they're the boss on the water.
As we look backward on this 32-foot skater, you see the rest of the field. And now as we look in the middle of your screen, look at Carlos and Charlie's turn up the heat. Joe, they are on the fly as they head down for our first turn on this 10-mile race course.
A beautiful sight. The Chicago skyline flies by, and I mean flies by. These big cats are really pouring the coals to it. And right now, Carlos and Charlie moving out to an early lead, and behind him in the open class, In Contempt. These boats really turning the power on.
Armsco Hurricane, we go on board. Let's listen to the chatter as they make the first turn of the day.
What's that? All right, we're good. Bring it, bring it.
Joe, there you get an indication of the conversation going on in the crew. Harmsco Hurricane working their way down off about a 45-degree angle. They had to cut across a wake, but they found a groove between two boats, and now they've made the first turn on this course.
Exactly right. Now the two open boats, the big boys on the water. That's Carlos and Charles on the outside, and that is In Contempt on the inside. Pat Patel, the attorney out of New York. Both boats pushing hard and winding them up. They're really putting some speed on this water.
Joe, a very difficult 2 miles coming up for the drivers now. A right-hand kink and then the left-hander at the lighthouse. Let's go on board. Carlos and Charlie's with Jack Harmony and Art Lilly.
Okay, we're going to have to slow down this turn up here. Okay. Where's the tail at? Out of sight behind us. Okay, let's take this turn easy. We got to make almost a 90 up here.
Joe, let's go on a great vantage point. We've got a camera on the lighthouse here to the entrance of Chicago Harbor. Carlos and Charlie's leads the way through as they come by.
Art Lilly puts the hammer down, heads it out into open water. On the outside, a boat out of nowhere, Lightning Jacks. On the inside, In Contempt. And there's Harmsco Hurricane leading in the Pro Stock class, followed very closely by Patriot.
And as we look back at some of the other boats coming by here on the inside, here's Jaws trying to close up on Patriot and Hurricane. And as we see Moo, and they're in a great battle right now with Rolling Thunder. As we go back on board, Carlos and Charlie's.
Hold it. When you turn right up here. I think we've all missed a pin. Yep. Oh, but there it is. There it is. We got to go back and get it. Hold on. Watch it back down. We'll get these guys in a minute, Art. Everybody missed it. Moo's the only one that got it.
Oh, tremendous speeds out here on this race course today, and a lot of glare coming off the water. These drivers are having a hard time finding turn number 3.
A lot of speed also, Steve, on the flat water on the inside of the breakwater, and a tricky course, as you said, can create these kind of problems. From a different angle, let's take a look at what nearly happened. Lightning Jacks on the outside, Carlos and Charlie's on the inside. They nearly collide.
You know, as we continue to watch the replay here, Carlos and Charlie's and Lightning Jacks, those two crews did a great job staying away from each other, but now they got a major problem. They've got to go find turn number 3. They have to circulate around it, otherwise they'll be disqualified. So now they go searching for it. There's Lightning Jacks leading Carlos and Charlie's. They're heading back. There's the turn. It's a 90-degree turn to the right now. They've got to catch up and then go around it to the left side. And guess what, Joe? Here comes the rest of the field. Now they have to be very judicious as they tiptoe through the field and get around turn number 3. We'll return to Chicago in the second start. Boy, the excitement continues to heat up. We'll have more of it for you when we return right after this. Time out. Here you get a chance to see the Superstock Sport and Production classes, and right off the bat, the Superstock class side-by-side, Mobile 1 with Dank and Sharp as they battle, and here comes Sierra, 3 abreast as they go by the start-finish line.
Now let's move up to the DV class. That's the sports class, and right now we're on Harry Turner's Obsession. Got a camera on board that boat. A great look at all the competition.
With the Superstock side-by-side, there you see Mobile 1 on the outside, along with Dank and Sharp. These two battled side-by-side in Lake Winnipesaukee in 1996, race number 2, in front of this huge crowd here on Lakeshore Drive. It's happening again, Joe. And Robert Loeffler, of course, the man from Florida who is now living in North Carolina. He is a many-time national champion, and this may be the boat to beat in 1996.
Robert Loeffler in Mobile 1 puts the hammer down, takes the lead, and right behind him on his hip is Sierra, Charlie Schaefer. He runs through that kink very closely and right now tries to find clear water on the inside of the course.
6 turns on this race course, as we talked about. 4 left-handers, 2 right-handers caused problems earlier on. Let's see how these boats do as they work their way around the kink, and now they're heading out toward the lighthouse here to the entrance of Chicago Harbor.
And from that lighthouse camera, we see on the outside, Mobile 1 gets a little loose there. That can cost him some time. And coming up hard is Sierra on his inside. Right now, Sierra takes the lead away from Mobile 1.
And Dank and Sharp sitting in third. Let's go on Obsession, the sport boat.
Right there, good.
Well, Joe. You got a great vantage point looking to the back, and now we switch forward to the cockpit as they're now looking back behind them to see where the competition is, but at the same time they're worrying about coming through this clean as they work their way past the lighthouse here. Just a 45-degree left-hand turn. Some drivers made it a 90-degree turn and got in trouble earlier on in the race.
And right now, Mike Fiore and Harry Turner pushing that big Outer Limits boat through that turn, doing a great job. Outer Limits, of course, the official pace boat of the U.S. Offshore Tour.
On board a different boat, this time Bronx Phantom, a new Will Smith design. And you look out the window, Joe, you get a chance to see how tough the visibility is. And now you can see why some of the drivers had a problem in that first lap working their way around the course.
Very good point, Steve, as we take a look at the skyline. That's the John Hancock Center on the skyline right now. Here comes Bronx Phantom running on the inside, pushing hard for the lead in the production class.
And it is a very large number of boats in the production class as they do work their way now onto the backside of the course. Here's Patriot, your leader in the Pro Stock class. This down the backside, as we talked about, 4 miles in length with a dog leg to the right, a very difficult part. And Joe, the conditions out here a little bit rougher than on the inside of the course.
And now our new leader on the backside of the course in the open class, that's Lightning Jacks. That's John Woolley and Bill Durham on board. There's Hurricane running in second place in Pro Stock and pushing hard. Carlos and Charlie's running, trying to catch Lightning Jacks, trying to take over the lead in the open class.
And Joe, let's go on board Harmsco Hurricane and get a chance to look off to our left and see the speed that Carlos and Charlie's is showing as they take them on the inside as they continue their pursuit in the open class. They are running very quickly, and we'll get a chance now to go on board Carlos and Charlie's to listen to some of the communication.
Where's the next pin? You got it? Gotta be over here. There it is. I see it. We got it. We're in a good spot. Let's go in right behind these guys and get them on the straightaway. We've got the speed, Art. Hold it together. It's our race. Okay. Just don't get a bunch of water up here.
Joe, good communication going on right now, but let's find out how they set up for a very, very difficult turn here.
Okay, go. Good job, Jack. Yeah, we're getting it, buddy. Boat feels good. Let's show these guys how to race. We already showed them how to get lost.
Here's Patriot, but take a look at Lightning Jacks. That cat is flying out there in the water.
Lightning Jacks maintaining a slim lead over Carlos and Charlie's, who's running behind him, and running right next to him, Steve. P7 Patriot, he's leading in the Pro Stock class. Both boats, catamarans, both running very well. The more powerful open boat on your right side, Lightning Jacks, of course, moving out and doing well over 125 miles an hour down this straightaway.
2 miles down the straight, heading for the start-finish to close out another lap here in Chicago. Carlos and Charlie's in full flight, reaching speeds of almost 125 miles an hour in front of this large crowd today.
It is amazing when you see this kind of speed on this nice flat water. Lake Michigan being very kind to the catamarans today as we see Lightning Jacks going down in front of Lakeshore Drive. A lot of people getting a real thrill out of watching these boats as we see Bill Gifford in Sunoco Race Machine. He's starting to pick up the pace. He's starting to close ground on those leaders.
Back on Harmsco Hurricane, they continue in their pursuit to try to close the gap on Patriot.
Bill Gifford pulls alongside and now passes Harmsco Hurricane. He's in the Sunoco Race Machine somewhere on Lakeshore Drive. His young daughter and the team mascot, that's young Casey Marie, is rooting for her dad.
Lightning Jacks, a boat out in front right now. This boat out of New Jersey finished 4th last race in the opening round, and they want to win it today. We'll come back to Chicago. Just underway here for the Chicago Offshore Challenge. Back with more right after this. Time out. Chicago for the Chicago Offshore. Instrumental in making this a great event here this weekend. From the Mayor's Office of Special Events, Jim Sheehan and Jennifer Gluntz, we thank you for your help. And let's go down now to Joe Gates and learn more about our host city.
Thank you, Steve. Behind me, the great city of Chicago. It's a super place to have a race. Of course, the lake out there, what can you say? It's going to be a dynamite event. The city, the lake, the people, it's great here. They call it the Windy City. Right now, it's the boat racing city. Back to you.
Good comment, Joe. Right now it's not windy, and for Lightning Jacks, they are flying on this calm water. But remember, as they come up on the Navy Pier, it is a lot different on the inside of the course than on the outside.
Certainly is that, Steve. On the inside, flat water, no navigational problems. Right now, they're coming to the lighthouse position where we have a camera. And as they go past, we take a look at Lightning Jacks. He's heading out into the big water on the outside of the lake, right on his hip and pushing hard, trying to reel him in. That is Jack Carmody on board Carlos and Charlie's, Art Lilly on the throttles, and right behind them, that's In Contempt. All 3 boats, 1, 2, 3 in the open class.
Very close, Joe. Just 7 seconds separating this, the leader, Lightning Jacks, from In Contempt, who's back in third. And it looks like there may be a problem again as the drivers and navigators reestablish their race course headings for the open water. Well, Joe had a chance to earlier talk with Kurt Berger about the U.S. Offshore Pro Tour's technical advancements for 1996.
Thank you, Steve. Down in the pits with Kurt Berger here in Chicago, the second stop on the Pro Tour for 96, Kurt. It's been an exciting race here so far, and I'll tell you, the competition has really been going crazy out there. A lot of technical advantages, and I want to talk to you about some of those technical aspects that you're working on with the U.S. Offshore's Pro Tour.
Joe, yeah, we're off to a real great start this year, and I think U.S. Offshore has the right idea. What we tried doing technically is to reduce the number of classes so the spectators can really enjoy and see what's going on. And we did this in a way where we could still run. Outboards have a few venues, the inboards have a few classes, and the Cats and V can still toy around also.
And these new rules seem to be really working for 1996.
And the boats seem to have solved their navigational problems. They're back on track trying to reel in the leaders. The boats that had a little mistake, they're trying to make up that time. We switch our attention now back to the lighthouse and the lighthouse camera. The lead in modified goes to Moo. On his outside is Rolling Thunder.
And we're getting word now from race control that this boat, In Contempt, is now your new leader in the open class. They've worked their way past Carlos and Charlie's and Lightning Jacks.
That's been a hard battle all day. The DB running well on the outside. We switch back to the inside, a little flatter water. That's Euro Marine trying his best to reel in Patriot and Harmsco Hurricane.
Euro Marine a year ago was a runner-up in the 1995 championship. They won a race last year. And as we watch Sierra come through, getting a little air, they are out in first place right now. So Sierra has worked their way up into first, and Superstock in second place is Mobile One trying to chase down Sierra. But that boat right now out of New Jersey is really moving the mail, and Danka Sharp sitting back in third with Bodyguard back in fourth position. Those are your top four.
Excellent call, Steve. 1, 2, 3, and 4 in Superstock. A lot of competition there as we switch our attention to an aerial camera on the backside of the course. P11, Harmsco's Hurricane. That boat trying to reel in the leader in Pro Stock. That's Patriot.
Joe, one thing to remember about triple engine steering as we go on board with Harmsco Hurricane, when you're running 3 engines, whether you have 2 props turning left or 1 right, the boat in the straightaway will have a tendency to crab one way or the other, making the driver constantly correcting his heading to make a straight run at it. And right now, as they work their way around the corner, that's not the problem, but they set up, and you want to be able to work your way through and have to be careful because you got Carlos and Charlie's, a very fast boat on the inside. You don't want to get too close to them.
Boat pushing hard, running in second place in Pro Stock. We switch our attention now back to the start-finish line. Unfortunately for Carlton Myers, his race day is over. How sweet it is. Obviously developed some kind of problem. They're putting it away.
Too bad for the boat driver out of New York who came all this way. Didn't get the boat really moving on the water like he wanted to today. Open class leaders we talked about, In Contempt, making a great move around Carlos and Charlie's, and also Lightning Jacks on the backside of the course continues to lead in the open class. But now Lightning Jacks setting a blistering pace right at the limit as it starts to close in the gap just a bit on In Contempt as they go by the front straight.
And the thousands of spectators that have joined us here on Lake Michigan today to watch this spectacle are getting a bird's eye view right up close and personal. These big boats are just flying by the crowd.
Here's the Sunoco machine of Gifford Racing back in fourth place, trying to move up into the top 3. They need to reel in Carlos and Charlie's.
Quite a sight. Bill Gifford Racing in the Sunoco race machine. Boat is trimmed out, Steve, to the max right now. He is 10-tenths. He's pushing it hard. He's trying to pull in those leaders in front of him.
And as we watch these boats down the 2-mile front straightaway, there's Patriot, your leader in Pro Stock. And on the outside, Carlos and Charlie's in third spot in the open class. And back comes Jaws, third in the Pro Stock class.
And the water on the inside of this race course, as you said earlier, Steve, proving to be very flat and very fast. The catamarans are really liking it, but the DBs are running very fast as well.
Joe Danka Sharp, now your new leader in Super Stock after Sierra, the leader, had broken down. They had also set a very fast lap, about 87 miles an hour, but they're done for the day.
Now that's the fortunes of war out there on these race courses. We see Euro Marine going by, running in fourth position in the Pro Stock class. And another Super Stock contender now in second place, catching a little air right in front of the crowd, is the boat Bodyguard.
Harry Turner's boat Obsession, your leader right now in the sport class. This boat won in Lake Winnipesaukee the opening round. And Joe, it's in perfect condition as it goes by this large crowd, trying to make it 2 in a row this year.
The big Outer Limits boat's trimmed out very well, running very well. We jump on board as they go by the crowd. We've got a camera on Robert Bowman's helmet. He's the navigator on board that boat. What a view, what a picture.
He's driving it. We're looking good, boys. We're looking good.
And they are looking good. They're leading sport class in this boat. Great Lakes Caster trying to close the gap. They're back in second place.
DB is really running very well in this flat water. You know, it's surprising, Steve. They're running just about as well as the Cats. One would think that would not be the case if we take a look at Media Master number 88, number 1 in production class. All these boats doing a lot of speed in front of these thousands of spectators on Lakeshore Drive.
Media Master working their way through now a rougher inside of the course. Back in second place, that's Team Progression. And they're not too far back, Joe. They're starting to close the gap as we go back to Patriot. Patriot, your overall leader in Pro Stock, and we'll come back to Chicago when we return right after this timeout.
Well, Joe Gates with you.
And we take Gifford's machine, and right now this boat right in the thick of it in the open class.
All of these boats in the open class been trading punches all day long. That's Gifford's Sunoco machine, and right on his outside, Carlos and Charlie's found some extra horses, some extra speed, and he's taken over a position now, and everybody is chasing this boat. That's number 176. That is Patrick Patel on board as he continues to lead in the open class, but being pushed and pushed hard by this boat, number 5. That's Lightning Jacks. He's closing ground.
And Lightning Jacks just set the fastest lap in the race so far, an average speed of 108 miles an hour. That is fast around this 10-mile course. 6 difficult turns.
6 difficult turns, but flat water on the inside, and all the leaders are taking advantage of that water. Here comes Carlos and Charlie's running very well, running on top, trying to reel in the leaders. Number 38 is doing a good job of keeping ahead of right now Bill Gifford, but you can't count him out because the Sunoco race machine seems to be closing ground once again. He's not going to be denied.
And Carlos and Charlie's flat out right now. This beautiful 40-foot skater out of Austin, Texas, powered by 2 900-horsepower machines. And Joe earlier had a chance to talk with Jack Carmody out of Austin, Texas, and throttleman Art Lilly.
Thank you, Steve. With the crew from Carlos and Charlie's, throttleman Art Lilly, and, of course, Jack Carmody, owner-driver. Gentlemen, it's going to be a great day. Lake Michigan looks like your kind of water out there. It's going to be flat and fast.
Yeah, the water looks good today. We love the conditions. We got the right equipment. I got the right throttle man. I feel real good about today.
I think you do have a match pair, as you say, and this, talking about a match pair, you're going to have a lot of match races on the water today. You got some serious competition, Art.
Well, I tell you, Joe, we have some of the fastest boats in the world here in the open class today. And the water out here in Chicago can get a little rough on occasion, depending on how the wind's blowing. So it's going to be a good race today.
Cool, calm, and collective. Jack Carmody and Art Lilly, 2 veterans that have won so many times in the past. They just love picking up those checkered flags, and there's going to be a lot more in their career, and right now they're trying to close up on the leader. And here in full concentration, this a replay of them working their way around the Sunoco boat, Bill Gifford Racing, and as they come up on the boat, they want to take a little bit wider line. They don't want to get caught in the wash, so they're going to stay wide and get the job done.
A great piece of driving and throttling on board that boat, Steve, as you said. And right now we'll switch back to the lighthouse. There is Patriot leading in the Pro Stock class, but being pushed right behind him is Harmscrow Hurricane running in second place. And on the outside of that, the battle continues. The Moo Machine in modified. He is leading with Rolling Thunder running in second place.
Jaws, 3rd place in the Pro Stock class. Going by us here at the lighthouse location. The ever-changing Lake Michigan now looks like it's causing some problems out there for the boats going by. Brock's Phantom in the production class. This beautiful 30-foot Phantom boat comes by the lighthouse and almost stands up on end. He almost stuffed it, Joe. That boat must have been a real scare for the crew as we watch it again on replay inside the cockpit. And let's see where they get launched. And as we do, let's get a chance to talk with Skip Heffelfinger, the U.S. Offshore Safety Director, and Joe's down with him.
Thank you, Steve. With Skip Heffelfinger, Director of Safety for United States Offshore's Pro Tour. Skip, a big job, a very important job. The race today, of course, a lake race. Now, there's a difference from the lake to ocean. Tell us about the needs and requirements that you have to go under when you change from venue to venue like that.
Yeah, there is a considerable difference, Joe. What we're looking at here is a situation where, due to the flat calmness of the lake, the extremely high speeds that the boats will attain, makes us realize that we need more protection in the turns coming out of the turns. Versus when we're on a rough body of water like the ocean. The open ocean causes injuries like stuffing injuries where we expect traumatic injuries. And we can do with a little less maybe protection out there, but looking for more serious types of injuries.
I can see your point. It is always safety first. You know, Steve, it's a funny thing. No matter how good the boat racers are, their lives depend on the safety crews. And we've got one of the best at United States Offshore Racing Association. Back to you.
Thanks, Joe. I couldn't agree more as we watch Mobil 1 and Euromarine on the outside. Mobil 1 in the Super Stock class, Euromarine in the Pro Stock. Both boats right now up into the top 3. We'll come back to Chicago. We're having fun. We hope you are. Back with more right after this. Time out. As the pass, that's Doug Lewis, the driver, and Pat Jersey, the throttleman. And this boat has moved its way up to the front. And, Joe, they're doing a great job. But Lightning Jacks is on the fly, and they continue to set a fast lap. And Carlos and Charlie's back in third. They're trying to stay in the top three, and they're doing a great job.
A matter of seconds between first, second, third, and even fourth, because Gifford Marine seems to have picked up a little power. He's closing ground on the third place boat, Carlos and Charlie's.
Here's a Sunoco machine out of Egg Harbor, New Jersey, in fourth place in the open class, working its way past the big crowds here on Lakeshore Drive in Chicago. Now off the wing, a great shot here. You can see the flexing on the rear wing in the deck of this boat as it takes a pounding going down the front straight. And we talked about how nice and calm it is. Well, if that's calm, you can imagine what it's like on the outside. As we look at Harmsco Hurricane, the leader in the Pro Stock class, they are clipping along and picking up the laps as they go. And here's your leader. Utterly fantastic. The boat out of Kentucky, leading in the modified class. Rolling Thunder, however, not too far in the distance, trying to close the gap in the battle for first place.
Those boats running very well together. As a matter of fact, Utterly Fantastic has a lead, but not much of a lead. The boat seems to be picking up some pace, though. They seem to be trimmed very well. They're getting a little lighter. Back behind, second place in Pro Stock is Patriot, and Jaws running in third. Interesting point, Harmsco Hurricane picked them up and passed them on the back straightaway, and it's a little lumpy out there, Steve.
And running in a super stock class now and having a good run today is Danka Sharp. They continue to lead in the class, but I'll tell you what, the wick's turning up a bit for them. They're going to have to keep the pace up, because as they work their way past here comes the boat in second place, Bodyguard, and they've set some fast times the last time around. So Bodyguard is closing in. The cushion between first and second continues to get smaller, and Mobile One back in third position. You know, racing sponsorship is very important for a series, not only for the boats, the drivers, and the crews, but also for the series itself. And my partner Joe Gates had a chance to spend some time with Bob Hummel of the Navistar Corporation, who are sponsoring this race this weekend.
Thank you, Steve. With Bob Hummel from the Navistar Corporation. Bob, standing by your very impressive boat, Navistar Power, of course, City of Chicago in the background. You got to be a happy man. It's a great day.
Well, thanks, Joe. We're really looking forward to this event. As you know, we're here to sell engines. Not necessarily for these go-fast boats, but engines for boats. Not too many people know Navistar makes engines for the Ford Motor Company. It's our biggest customer, and for our own international trucks. And we would like to have our engines play in some of these boats also.
Of course, a lot of people are talking about the diesel power, and of course we know that there have been diesel race boats, but as you said, you're more for the workhorse, the durability, and you want to sell engines.
That's absolutely right. We're just venturing into the off-highway application. We have a lot of on-highway truck business, but these are fine engines. They're high production, high quality, very good emissions, and very fuel efficient with our electronic controls. So we think they're very adaptable to the marine environment.
Well, by our way, Lightning Jacks now has taken over the lead in the open class. This 40-foot skater out of New Jersey has gone to the front, as In Contempt has started to slow down a bit down in the front straightaway. They have actually come to a crawl. There you see the one-time leader of this race in the open class. They're trying to refire the engines and get going. But right now, In Contempt losing some valuable ground, and now they've got the engines back to full song as they try to pick the pace up. But look, they've dropped all the way down to third as Carlos and Charlie's now making a move. They have come up to second place. And it looks like In Contempt's got a lot of ground to make up as they come back up to full song, Joe. I don't know what happened there.
A lot of credit to be given, though. They got her started back again. Now Bill Gifford trying to close ground. He smells blood. He sees a way to get up into third position. Can he catch In Contempt? That remains to be seen.
Well, we go back upstairs in our helicopter shot. We can see the leader in the modified class. Utterly fantastic. And a beautiful panoramic view of Chicago. And we look down, we can see Pro Stock leader Hurricane on the inside. And these boats have gone past the start-finish line, now down into turn number 1. And they head southeast into that right-hand kink. Well, Utterly Fantastic in 1995 had a great year. And earlier, Joe had a chance to talk with Andy Trout.
With Andy Trout, owner of the famous Moo Machine. Now, Andy, obviously a catamaran and obviously a very successful race boat. The difference, DV versus Cap, why do you prefer the catamaran?
Joe, when we got into this sport here, we started looking at the different boats that were out there, and we looked at what the sanctioning bodies were doing. And with the races coming to be more people-oriented, running close to the shore, it looked to us like the Cat was going to be the preferred boat. We're running a little bit flatter water. There's days we get in that 4 to 5 foot. But most of the boats most of the time we're running in this flat type water. It just, the Cat's more stable, You can put these canopies on it. The boat gets up on top of the water. The ride's nice, and to us, it seemed the way to go.
Well, today he would be a soothsayer because that's exactly what's happening. And here's two cats coming by right now and going very fast on this flat water. And there's Utterly Fantastic on your left. And, of course, the leader in the Pro Stock Class Hurricane on the inside.
Both boats heading out to open water on Lake Michigan, right behind and pushing hard. The second place boat in the Pro Stock class, that's Patriot, trying to gain some ground. Takes a little air there. That can cost him some time. Here's a boat that hasn't lost any time on the course. That's number C4, the Danka Sharp machine. That boat doing very well and running very strong.
That's your leader in the Super Stock class, trying to make a break for it, but they're having a tough time at it because Bodyguard is right behind in second place. But Bodyguard is also feeling the heat because only about 10 boat lengths back and about 3 seconds in arrears is Mobile One. So that's the difference between first, second, and third in Super Stock. What a great race we're having here in Chicago. The fans are loving it. Big crowds along the waterfront. We hope you're enjoying it too. We'll be back with more action from Chicago and return right after this. Mass leader 2/3 of the way home. This beautiful boat out of New Jersey continues to lead, but right behind they can feel the heat of Carlos and Charlie's. This boat, the 40-foot skater out of Texas, closing ground all the time, and this is far from over, Joe.
The race definitely tightening up in front. Carlos and Charlie running in second place. Lightning Jack's just a few seconds in front in first place. And right behind, that's number 176 in Contempt, Patrick Patel. That boat went down. The DV has made up some ground. And right behind him, pushing hard and trying to move into the number 3 slot, Bill Gifford, Sunoco Racing Machine. This boat definitely closing ground. In fact, a matter of only 18 seconds between first, second, third, and fourth in the open class, Steve.
So as these open boats come blistering by, let's take a look at Utterly Fantastic. There's your leader in the modified class. This beautiful boat out of Kentucky, Andy Trouth at the controls. And here is your leader in Pro Stock, Harmsco Hurricane, the boat coming up from Florida. Was in a great battle earlier going on with Patriot, and that is far from over because Patriot now right on the heels of Harmsco Hurricane.
And that battle tightening as it has all day long. On the inside, Patriot seems to have the speed. On the outside, Harmsco has the advantage.
Well, as we watch the racing continue on the front straightaway, it now brings us to this week's feature, Driver's Corner. And the focus this week is communication between the crew and how it leads to winning on the water.
And winning is the name of the game, but before you can win, you have to start. The start is one of the most critical parts of any offshore race. It takes position, placement, a lot of power, control, and patience, but most importantly, it takes communication between driver, throttle man, and navigator. Each man has a function, and it's very important. They must look to the left, look to the right, and clear the area so they may run into open water. Let's now go on board Harmsco Hurricane and relive that moment that they jumped out in the lead and had such a great start at the beginning of this race.
Come up clear over here. Okay, good. Okay. All right. Face. Get your line. I got him. No, you're inside too much. You're inside too much. Go my way. Come my way. Okay. All right. You're way inside the corner. All right. All right. Come my way. Coming. You're going to hit the seawall, man. Okay. I see it. Let him go. Let's eat him. No yelling. Like we got a bird up here on the course.
Cool and collected, the Harmsco crew works as one. They have checked out the course. They know they've got open water. What a great start. Now another important aspect of a race on an offshore circuit, it is the all-important turn. Let's go on board Carlos and Charlie's and see how they handle this critical part of offshore racing.
Well, come behind us with the green boat. Go ahead. Outside this time. All right. I was going to try and make up some time there, but I didn't. I turn this boat, the faster you accelerate it.
Good communication can be the difference between winning and losing, and that's this week's Driver's Corner.
Good battles going on all over the race course today. This in the production class in the back of the pack a bit. Rum Runner and Cool Running going at it. They've been going after each other lap after lap, and one's giving no quarter and the other is not taking any.
very good racing right now. In fact, they seem to be pushing each other. One of our helicopter cameras flying over the top of them. We switched to the helicopter shot. Aerially, a beautiful day out here. Gorgeous panorama. Those boats are looking very strong, and I know the crowds are really enjoying this race. We'll be back to Chicago with more from the Offshore Challenge right after this timeout.
U.S. Offshore Pro Tour. Jacks, they continue to lead, but Carlos and Charlie's, their hunt toward the front continues. And again, it gets smaller and smaller, Joe, here. Let's see if they can do it in the last 10 miles and catch up with Lightning Jacks.
Just put a clock on them, got the report from race control. A matter of 3 seconds between first and second place. In Contempt going by, running in third in open class. And there's your leader in the production class. That is Media Master. I got to tell you something, Steve. I'd hate to have Sue Gifford and Leslie Cohen's job. Scoring this race is going to be very tight. It's going to come down to the wire.
Here's Team Progression. This boat last year finished second in the national championship. They would just love to move to the front today, but they got to pass Media Master. Here is your leader in Superstock. They've been up front all day long. Dank is Sharp continues to roll along on the back straightaway. Now just over a half a lap left to go, and the battle for second now heating up. Look at Mobile One on the outside, making the move past Bodyguard, and now Mobile One takes up the hunt for the overall lead. They're going to chase down Dank is Sharp.
Never see one Bodyguard, Al Fiala, last year's national champion in Superstock, being forced to run in third position. I know he's not happy. He's airing that boat out. He wants to move up. Steve, we've just been given word from race control. There is an accident on the course. There's some of the rescue craft going after Team Progression has thrown a man out of the cockpit. I'll get back to you with more information.
All right, thank you, Joe. And from a different vantage point on the race course here, you get a chance to see more rescue boats quickly moving to try to help out the crew from Team Progression.
And Steve, a report from race control. We've just found out that not only Team Progression threw a man out of the boat, so did Jaws in our picture right now. By the way, U.S. Offshore safety crews are out there. Everything is fine. Everybody is okay. But the problem, on the course, Lightning Jacks has gone down, and that may mean that our winner today will be Carlos and Charlie's in the open class.
Well, as they race to the checkered flag in the line, yes, Carlos and Charlie's comes across the winner in the open class with an average speed of just over 93 miles an hour, and Media Master wins in the production class. And here's a real battle for first in the Superstock, right to the wire. Mobile One just comes across and wins by 2 seconds over Dank is Sharp. And to the line to finish in second place in the open class, Sunoco Racing, Bill Gifford at the controls. And finishing in second place in the production class, Team Progression. There's the boat where they lost a crew member. They stopped, they picked him up, they threw him back in the cockpit, and Joe, they were able to finish in second place. And taking the checkered flag in the sport class is Obsession. They have won 2 in a row in 1996. Harry Turner in this boat out of Cape Cod, Massachusetts, doing a great job so far this year. Taking top honors in the modified class, utterly fantastic, the boat out of Kentucky rules the waves one more time here in 1996. And your winner in Pro Stock from Florida, Harmsco Hurricane picks up their first victory of the year, defeating Patriot. Just in from U.S. Offshore scoring, let's take a look at the U.S. national standings after 2 races. In the open class, Gifford Racing takes over in first place. And in Pro Stock, Jaws grabs the lead. In Super Stock, Mobile One moves into first place. And in the sport class, Obsession is 2 for 2. Back to meet some of the winners and wrap it up. And the Chicago Offshore 1996 is brought to you by Navistar, a world leader in diesel power. And by Sunoco, Sunoco Race Fuels. And by Bulova, excellence in precision since 1875. And by Motorola, your authorized two-way radio dealer. And now let's go down to Jim Winter. He's with the U.S. Offshore Pro Tour Vice President, Jim Brown.
Here with Jim Brown. Jim, wanted to ask you what you thought of today's race.
I'll tell you, this was one of the most exciting races we've had in a while. When we race inside the harbor area here in Chicago, it's loaded with spectators, and the boats have to do some real good navigating. They did it here. It was a very safe race, and we had some real exciting finishes. As you can see, we're on the finish line right now. Boats behind us with the checkered flags. This is a truly exciting race.
Nice finish in that C-class race, huh? Neck and neck there?
That was neck and neck right till the end. There were any one of 3 boats that could have won that race at any moment.
And taking a final look at our winners here in Chicago today, Media Master comes away with the victory in the production class. Matt Beck, the driver, Greg Quirk at the throttles. And your winner today in the sport class is Obsession. Harry Turner out of East Falmouth, Massachusetts, the driver. Mike Fiore, the throttleman out of Long Island, New York. And Harmsco Hurricane wins in the Pro Stock class. And let's go down and join Joe Gates with the winner.
Thank you, Steve, in the winner's circle with a team from Harmsco Hurricane. Steve Page, a great run out there today, a lot of competition.
Yeah, it was a great time. The water was our water. Steve did a great job on the throttles. It was just a great day for us.
Checkered flag in the Super Stock class goes to Mobile One, and Joe's moved over with Robert Loeffler and Tom Russell.
Thank you, Steve. And the winners here in Chicago in C-Class. What a great race. Robert Loeffler, Mobile One. It cooked out there all the way around the course.
I'll tell you, Joe, the race was incredible. We ran from the start, and just one thing after another, and the boat just ran fantastic. We went to the lead, and then we went off course. We went back to third place, and then we started reeling them in, and I think with a lap to go, we finally got whiplash, and it was a close finish at the end, and the boat ran fantastic.
Utterly Fantastic makes it 2 for 2 in 1996. And Joe's over with Andy Trouth and Rob Stevensons.
Thank you, Steve. And the winner, as usual, in the modified class, Andy Trouth, the Move Boat. What a machine.
Yeah, Joe, I'll tell you what, that cow boat, that's a real fine piece of equipment, and the competition was good today. We had a good race. Chicago was great, and we're glad to be here.
3 different boats led in the open class, but Carlos and Charlie's comes home with the victory. And here's Joe with Jack Carmody and Art Lilly.
Thank you, Steve. In the winner's circle with the team from Carlos and Charlie's guys, a great run out there. A lot of competition, a lot of hard running.
Exciting race. After that first lap, when we got mixed up and got in the spectator fleet, all the boats got lost. We went around, got back in the lead. Second lap, everybody got lost again. We got real far behind then, and then we had to pedal hard to catch back up, but it felt real good.
As the crowd circulate around the winner's circle in Navy Pier, let's go back to Joe Gates for final comment.
Thank you, Steve. It was a great day of racing here in Chicago for round number 2 of U.S. Offshore's Pro Tour for 1996. And talking about a great day of racing, you had to have a great day out on that lighthouse. What a vantage point. Your impressions of the day, Jim Elliott, and your impressions of that most important open class race.
Joe, it was really exciting. We were out at the lighthouse and we watched Carlos and Charlie's come around and take over lightning jacks going into the third turn, and it was a great day, a great vantage point, and a very exciting race.
And that it was, and of course, Jim Winter, you had another great vantage point. You were on the start-finish boat. You got to watch that photo finish in C-Class. What a race that must have been.
Oh, it was thrilling, Joe. It was really exciting. I mean, we saw him at the start, so everybody taking off, and watched him come by, and then when the finish came, and it was so close, Mobile One just nosing out Donka Sharp at the end, made for a great day of racing, and I think Chicago really embraced offshore racing here today.
I couldn't agree more. In fact, the thousands of fans here on the pier, they loved it. The city loved it. And, Steve, I got to tell you, it was exciting racing on Lake Michigan. You will definitely have to agree, Chicago will remember this event for a long time to come. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Joe. It was a tremendous day of racing in Chicago, but it's time to head east as we go to Point Pleasant, New Jersey in the 3rd round of the U.S. Offshore Pro Tour for 1996. We'll see you there. So long, everybody.